We've seen how we can manipulate objects on a form by changing their appearance, enabling, disabling, showing, hiding, etc., and adding values into them, whether they are linked to a data set or not. Now, if we treat the form itself as an object, then we can manipulate that as well with our VBA. Probably the most common forms of manipulation of a form is to actually open and close it. So how do we go about opening a form? Well, let's create a new form that we're going to treat as our little menu, a brand new form. And let's add a couple of command buttons onto there. Change what they say. Open items, open sold items. We want this one, open this form here, FRM new items. Let's see that that works. That does work. And we want this one here to open FRM sold items, and that one works. So let's add our VBA. First step is to give our two little objects here sensible names other than command 0 and command 1. So I'm going to call that CMD open all items. And this one, instead of command 1, CMD open sold items. Let's save our form. FRM open form menu. Okay. Let's take the first of our buttons, event, on click, event procedure. 3 dots takes us into our class module for the FRM open form menu. Creates us our subroutine, command open all items, because that's what we call the button, underscore click. And in here, we simply add our open form command. Well, it comes under the little method of do command dot, and then that lists all the potential methods that can be triggered by do command, one of which is open form. Now the open form, as you can see there when we press space, has quite a lot of optional parameters, but there's only one compulsory, and that's the name of the form. So if we put the name of that form in speech marks because it's a string, FRM new items, close speech marks, the rest of those parameters are all optional, so let's ignore them for the moment. Return, it does its title casing for us, and then we can go back to our form. Let's save and view. When we click the button, it quite happily opens my little FRM new items. So we can close that. So back in the code, now the optional parameters are comma. First of those is the view. So this specifies how you want to open the form. Do you want to open it in design view, layout view, datasheet view, etc.? Well, we'd like to open it in normal. That's the default anyway. Comma. Would we like to add a filter name to display records in the form? We haven't, so we will skip that parameter, but the only way to skip that parameter is to put the next comma, leaving nothing between the two commas. Then we can add a where condition. So we can say, okay, we'd like to open that form, FRM new items, but only where a certain criteria is met. And we'll look at that shortly. We can then move to the next optional parameter, which is the data mode. And you can see a little drop list of options. Is it going to be add only? Is it going to be edit? Are we going to set some of the properties separately, or is it going to be a read-only form? Let's skip those by another comma. Then we can display the window mode. Is it a dialog box? Is it hidden? You might want to open this form, but actually hide it from the viewer because you're using it to hold data that you're using globally. Do you want to open it as an icon, or do you want to open it as a normal window? The default is normal window, so we can choose that, or we can skip with another comma. Let's choose it this time, comma. And then finally, we can have open arguments, which is the ability to pass data from one set of code to another that manipulates this form. So you can see most of those optional parameters we've left as the default. If it's the default, you don't need to specify. If you need to specify parameters that are not in order, then you still need to put the right number of commas. So effectively it knows this bit here falls into the correct parameter area, and this bit here falls into the correct parameter area. So these commas here are vitally important if you want to specify a parameter that is further down the line. So this, without the extra comma at the end, will do exactly as it did before. Opens the FRM new items in normal view. So let's go back and do the other button. Open sold items. View code. Let's trigger the set of code ourselves. So we select the button, on click, event procedure, 3 dots. Now you don't actually have to do that from Access, select the button, come through the trigger. If you know what the object is called and you know the trigger you want to use, then you can write this yourself. Name of the object underscore the available trigger. So in this case, underscore click. Do cmd dot open form And again, it's the name of the form, FRM sold items. We're only specifying the form, so that's all we will need. View, and it opens all the sold items. Now that's just opening the form. Do command.openForm, name the form, and that form will be opened in normal view without any of the optional extras. Let's move forward to the next lesson and look at how you'd open a form, but use the openForm command to filter what you see.